Hi. So we are in the beginning of March and in the middle of a very difficult, critical situation in Ukraine. So let us see what's going on and what March will look like, especially in this respect, of course. I will show you, I will share the screen now. So this is March. Remember, I told you in my February forecast that the lunar eclipse of the 19th November 21 would be activated by the February full moon. And that is the planetary picture showing this activation. Remember, I was telling you how the middle of November is going to would probably bring troubles in political situation, tension, increased tension. And I told you that I thought, or I was hoping that the tensions in Ukraine would cease even sooner than that, because everything started at the time of retrograde Mercury and so on. This was more of a hope. I still thought that if something would really happen, something dangerous, some invasion of some sort, that it would happen in the middle of February, because at that time, the solar eclipse of December was activated by a semi-square of transiting Pluto. But then it so happened that the invasion took place on the 24th of February. I will show you the transit graph again a bit later, explaining why this happened, what I overlooked, because I did overlook something important. I will show you it's all related to declination, which is a fantastic measuring tool in astrology. Incidentally, the chart of Ukraine, which was formed on the 24th of August 91 at 17:31 or 5:31 p.m. in Kiev, Ukraine, has MC at exactly the degree of the last lunar eclipse, and ascendant at 26th of Capricorn. So Pluto has just recently transited this degree, and everyone who studies astrology knows that Pluto can bring destruction. And so this is very apt, unfortunately. So again, 27, and here we have 27 degree of fixed signs activated. Yesterday was new moon. This chart is located for Ukraine, and it's a fascinating chart because this new moon ticked off the solar eclipse of December, you see, and both are actually semi-squared by Pluto. So it's a kind of reactivation, and this is very dangerous. Of course, this is explosive. This is describing very aptly what is going on these days. Especially today we have Mars in exact conjunction with Pluto and Venus as well, right today on the 3rd of March, when very tough fights are taking place in Ukraine. So this is semi-square. It's like Pluto is at the midpoint of the yesterday's new moon and the solar eclipse. Very tough. Now this is the graph that I showed you in my February forecast. Remember, I told you that this is the dangerous time. And so these are just transits in declination. There is no basic chart related to it. Remember that I told you here with Mars paralleling Pluto on the 22nd and 23rd that more accidents related to fire or explosions are to be expected. It actually happened, the invasion to Ukraine happened on the next day, on the 24th. actually started on the 23rd, probably like, you know, the beginning of the movement of the forces. But what is really, this is normal, but 24th degree. So longitude, transits in longitude. This is again something that I showed you in my February forecast. This is the semi-square that I mentioned a bit earlier, semi-square to the eclipse degree, Pluto semi-square. That's the activator. And here is the chart showing what I overlooked in that forecast. I overlooked that. Now this is, I overlooked that in the declination chart. Mars, which was in the beginning of February, still out of bounds, would come to an exact parallel to the sun of the eclipse chart on the 24th, activated by the transiting moon. So here we have these days again, 23rd and 24th. And this is very interesting transit chart, because it shows a strong activation of Mars and Pluto and all this. You see, all these planets, all these points and planets here are closely connected by being on nearly the same degree of declination. These are Sun, Pluto, Ascendant, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and part of fortune, of course. This is located for Kiev. So yeah, on the 28th, there were first peace talks, which were unsuccessful, unfortunately. Oh, as for declination, I mentioned in an article that was published already in April 2012 in the Mundane Astrologer. I mentioned that the Second World War started in 1939 when Pluto reached the 23rd,5 northern declination. And I added the logical question is, what world crisis awaits us in 2023 to 2024 and later, I mean some years later, when Pluto once more reaches 23,5 degrees south this time. I will show you the graph showing this, but I knew that actually I thought that everything would start in 23. So 22 is a year earlier, but that's the orb of influence that we should take into account. You must know that this was a very long time ago, and at that time I didn't even dare to think or to try to predict openly, publicly, that I fear that the world would come to a big crisis, but it started to happen. So we cannot close our eyes anymore before this fact, also before this planetary fact. So let me show you this graph now. So these are the late 30s when Pluto reached the maximum declination of the sun, which is a crucial degree in declination, and stayed there for several years, for a decade. In the middle of this period, we have 1945, when the war ended and the new world order started to formulate itself. This new world order is now getting old. It looks like the powers are fighting each other, have started to fight each other, trying to create a new world order. Here is today, 22. And yeah, there is a decade in front of us, which hopefully will not bring something like a war on a bigger, larger scale. I do not know how this will play out. I do have some kind of feeling, or let me say, evaluation of what could possibly happen. But anyway, we should not fear we should just know that, I mean, we are seeing now that major political forces have started to recognize their differences, which is currently being brought out into the open by this unfortunate war in Ukraine. But this is just to show you how powerful Pluto is in declination. Yeah. Well, this is 1 week's transit chart from 1st to the 7th of March. Today is the 3rd of March, and these are the conjunctions of Venus and Mars with Pluto. So today is a difficult day with very strong fights and explosions and so on taking place. The politicians had peace talks, which they say are not, the Ukrainian people said they are not happy with. There are talks that Zelensky and Putin will sit down for a peace talk. Maybe this happens on the 5th of March, 2 days from today, because the Sun and Jupiter come to a conjunction. And this is a fortunate aspect. This is a happy aspect. And just let us just pray that they come to some kind of a solution to the problems that are taking place now. Probably there will be some kind of change with Mars and Venus changing signs from Capricorn into Aquarius. If not, then something related to the air and communication will begin, like the war could change from taking place mainly on the ground, maybe to taking place in the air, like, I don't know, or, you know, cyber war or something could get stronger, and such things, you know, that the air element, you know what air element signifies. Yeah. And of course, the sign of Aquarius is also related through its connection to Uranus, to the media, to internet, and such things. So this is the declination chart for this month. And yeah, here is the 2nd of March, which is already passed, which has passed. This was yesterday. Yeah, this is, you know, conjunction of, parallel, yes, of Sun to Jupiter and node, the node to the Moon. Yeah, the basis for this chart is the lunar eclipse of November 21. So the reason I took the basis, I took this chart is because I wanted to warn somehow that Mars is coming to parallel the Sun of this chart on the 15th of March, but we already have difficult times before that. That is, it's starting on the 10th of March when the moon's actually at the end of the 9th of March, the moon starts its out of bound motion. And we know that the days when the moon is out of bounds, exaggerated things takes place. And even if the situation weren't exaggerated enough, things can get even more out of control, and strange twists of fate can happen, especially because Uranus will come to exactly the same position as it was in the November eclipse. So Uranus on Uranus can bring, several things, stronger earthquakes, maybe a stronger earthquake somewhere in the on the Earth, and bombing, of course, and aggression. also possibly related to communication and internet and stuff like this, things like that. Yeah, we have the top here, 11, 12 of March. So these days can be quite dangerous, devastating. And well, hopefully that the possible peace talks between Zelensky and Putin are successful, but I somehow doubt this out for the reasons I will name a bit later. So here is I have the 15th of March. This can be especially difficult for the nation, for the people, for the, you know, well, many women and children have already evacuated, have already left the country, but still casualties could be high among the civil, among the people, among the civil nation of Ukraine around mid-March due to this activation of the lunar eclipse. But then we have later in the month, we have this Jupiter parallel to Neptune. This is a very peaceful combination of planetary forces, which shows compassion, trust in the humanity, you know, some kind of, you know, Neptunian hope and idealism and like a peaceful solution. So even if the moon will be out of bounds again, maybe something could happen that would show, you know, everyone that it's better to find some solution before it's too late. Yeah, that's between 25th and 27th of March. And here we have here is March, and this is again, these are again transits to the, yeah, these are transits to the solar eclipse, but in a longitude this time. We see Uranus on Uranus, of course, in longitude is the same as in declination when there is a conjunction of these trans-Saturnians. And but then we have in the mid-March, we have the opposition to MC. This is located for Kiev. So Uranus exactly on MC, on IC of Kiev could show bombings, and it's dangerous. This period is really dangerous between 10th and 15th. And starting on the 10th, because on the 10th, Saturn reaches the vertex of the eclipse chart set for Kiev. And then we have another possibly dangerous day, 21st and 22nd. But as I said, sooner, hopefully the later period brings some kind of peace, especially because Jupiter also by longitude conjuncts Neptune of this eclipse chart. This is the full moon of the 18th March, which confirms my indications in the the indications that the previous charts showed, because this full moon is not a bad full moon. It can bring something open. It can bring some kind of resolution aiming towards regeneration, recuperation, because both the moon and the sun are linked by harmonious aspects to Pluto. You can see sun applying by sextile to Pluto, moon applying by trine to Pluto in the 9th house, which could maybe mean some foreign influence, someone, some power, something coming from the world outside from Ukraine, and that would help to bring the two opposing parties together. This is confirmed by Mercury and Jupiter. By Jupiter applying to conjunction, Mercury applying to conjunction of Jupiter in the 11th house of hopes. and wishes. So I see this as a positive indication. We also have Neptune in sextile to the node, which is also a very hopeful indication. I hope you agree. Yeah, and if not, I mean, if peace talks collapse, if there is no agreement met, then we can have another stressful period compared to the February one, and we can have it in July because Pluto comes back to semi-square the solar eclipse of December. Although, of course, we will have another eclipse season in April and May. So that would not be that strong, but the history will somehow come back at that time. So next we have the chart of Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian leader. I hope his chart is correct. I cannot be sure. It's an A data, meaning that it might not be correct. The time of birth, I mean 2 p.m. Supposedly this is his own saying that he was born at that time. Well, I think it is quite possible that the chart is correct because he's a very talkative guy, ascendant in Gemini. As you know, he is an ex-actor and a dancer and comedian and so on. Sun conjunct Venus shows his popularity. He was chosen for a president without any political experience, just because he was so popular as a comedian, because he won the Dancing with the Stars show. Well, Moon in Leo is, you know, like he likes the stage and he likes to be pampered, but this is kind of a bit of an egocentric position. It's like I'm the best, you know, and I'm courageous. And this chart actually lacks water. Water is necessary for people, for the leaders especially, to feel compassion, to maybe base their decisions of political moves, to base them on love for humanity, for real love, for the for life, you know, for to save their lives, you know. And but these politicians are often kind of they have kind of psychopathic tendencies, because okay, they're brave, they're courageous, they want to, of course they want the best for the nation, but I'm afraid I'm saying that he is a bit too much of a fighter and self-centered person to be really able to I'm trying to find a word, to sacrifice, you know, some of his maybe really personal ambition. We're getting to the political talk now, so I'm not going to delve into this. I'm just trying to be objective. I'm just trying to be objective and maybe just say my view that in situations like this, when there is fighting and more fighting and more fighting, when two sides are not giving in, where two sides cannot come to an agreement, then some kind of sacrifice must be made, or the fights will go on and become and get more stronger each day. It's what we are witnessing now. What I'm concerned with this chart is that his rulers, the ruler of his 10th house is Saturn, and Saturn is in its detriment in Leo and retrograde. So this shows a rise, a big rise, like Saturn in Leo. It's like, you know, this is the best leader, like he's great, but it also brings a downfall We know this from several charts of politicians and leaders that came to a downfall, that could not be diplomatic enough or calm enough to be constructive. You need a certain kind of diplomatic sense to be successful as a politician. And this Saturn, of course, is again a 28 of a fixed sign. So it was activated by this eclipse on the 27th of Scorpio. Sorry, 27th of Taurus, but this is this line. Why am I saying that I'm concerned about this politician is that the reason is also that his progressed moon is currently in Aries, you know, the Mars ruled Aries. So he is very brave, very, you know, fighting and speaking of their win, we will win and will not give in. And he immediately applied for participation in the European Union, and it's I don't know, he's very he has this force, you know, let's go on at a time when it would be much better if his moon was in Libra, the sign of peace and harmony and equilibrium. Yeah. So this is Zelensky's progress chart. In the 8th harmonic. So he's progressed Venus in March, and this will be exactly about around the 10th of March, you know, is coming to Sesqui square Uranus, and Sesqui square progressed Uranus in April. So this is some kind of danger for him, you know, for his maybe also for his Venus's wife or maybe kids. Venus co-rules his 5th house, so he should be I would say very careful. And also this is not very peaceful, so I don't have very good feeling for him or his situation, or maybe this could also be detrimental to the situation of his country. Also, we have Sesqui square to progress Saturn in May, the beginning of May. And then we have the chart of Vladimir Putin. Well, he was born on the 7th of October 1952 at 9:30 in St. Petersburg, Russia. Well, his data also, some say that it's dirty data, meaning that the time of birth is questionable. But it's supposed to be an A data, not AA, but I think so. AA, yes. Some say it's not to be depended on, but I think it's his chart is very apt, because ascendant in Scorpio, ruled by an out-of-bound Mars, shows that he can reverse from being a very diplomatic, tactful and peaceful Libra into a murderous kind of you know, frame of mind, into acting wildly and also expand, like you know, Sagittarius is expansion, moving beyond you know, what is your territory. So his chart also lacks water, except for ascendant in Scorpio and Venus in Scorpio, but we know that the scorpionic water is dangerous water. It's like a river which is very, it goes straight, doesn't look what's around, it just goes. So anyway, it's not the compassion, it's not, you know, the water of Pisces or Cancer. And also Venus in Scorpio is not the loving Venus, it's something different. Well, anyway, his moon is also out of bound in Gemini. But well, anyway, he is Libra, and I think this gives hope that his basic power is to bring a conflict to an end. Of course, he will not give in easily. He is determined. He is very determined. And he has probably thought out the whole plan very carefully. So let us see at his chart. Yeah, this is his progress chart in the declination. What's interesting is that it is nearing its southern maxima. The moon, out of bound, will reach its southern maxima in 23. So his moon is in a precarious position, and by progression, it's in Aquarius. That is a winter sign. So he's been in a winter period of his life for several years now. And this shows weakened vitality. So we have heard more rumors that he is sick. And if that is correct, I cannot confirm this, but it is possible because people get sick more often when they are in their winter period. I'm speaking of the progressed moon periods. If this is correct, then 23 could be dangerous for him, maybe even for his life. I mean, for his health, vitality, because in the eclipse of October 23 takes place on his Neptune in his 12th house, very exactly, and this is a sign of weakness, of being weak, of being maybe forced to resign or something. It's really too early to speculate on that in any greater depth. And yeah, this is, I just made for fun the relationship chart between Zelensky and Putin, which is, it's so fascinating, you know, you get these degrees, exactly the degrees that are currently active by the current eclipses. So his conjunction of the Sun and North Node, so a very strong point in the chart here, was ticked off by the last solar eclipse at 12 Sagittarius. You see, exactly. And this is like, if this was a person's chart, this would mean that there will be a strong, there's some strain in their lives, maybe disagreement, you know, or difficult period to when someone would have to take difficult decisions, and maybe in the partnership, because the Sun rules partnership sphere here, co-rules the partnerships, and so on. But and also the 25th degree of Scorpio, well, that is close to the 27th, but this is the degree that will be activated exactly by the next lunar eclipse, which will be total, the eclipse of May, 16th of May this year. Yeah, and that is worrisome because we can see here this eclipse, you see, of 16th of May. This eclipse itself will be squared by Saturn. I have spoken and written about when I made forecast for 22 that this year we will remember this year or for bringing us poverty, and because the nodes are transiting through Scorpio and Taurus, and this is, you know, the material sphere, gain and loss, gain versus loss. So many ups and downs in this sphere, and Saturn squaring them, both the lights, is somehow worsening this situation. And but now we have the cause, or the cause are Putin and Zelensky, somehow symbolically speaking, but then not so symbolically again, because these are two people that are like the most important figures in this difficult situation right now. And so this shows that the drama is probably continuing, that it could even get you know, more difficult in May, but let's hope not. So pray for peace. We are all one. I hope praying would help. So thank you for listening, for watching, and for listening. And I hope that you have already subscribed to my channel. If not yet, you can do this now. Remember that my book, Daily Moon 22, is still available on Amazon, on all world Amazons, and as well as my horary textbook, which is a bestseller, getting very nice reviews for the third continuous year. So thank you for watching, and if you can, please share my channel, and I'll see you next month.